West Ham United embarked on the 2024-25 Premier League campaign with renewed hope and optimism as the David Moyes era finally came to an end, a historic time for the football club. We went into August with some spirit under Julian Lopeeti. That evaporated pretty swiftly as Lopeeti departed the club in the middle of January, making way for Graeme Potter to come as the new head coach. Now, he enjoyed a small amount of joy in the first couple of weeks of his reign. However, it went and transcended to yet more poor performances. The story of West Ham's season, calamity and chaos, where we have a disjointed squad with differing ideas everywhere. It's been pretty painful, pretty tedious. There's been the sprinklings of joy along the way. Wins at Arsenal, wins at Manchester United. That has been good. But elsewhere, it's let a lot to be desired for, and one of our worst campaigns at home in the distant memory. Lots to change next season, but before we start focusing on that, we need to have a little dissection of what we've seen over the last 9 months. And to do that, I have two of the most well-equipped individuals to assist me in that quest. Mike, first of all, how are you, my friend?
Yeah, good, mate. And yourself?
Not too bad, not too bad. And Gary, how are you, my friend?
Very good, thank you, Jake. You?
I'm fine. Not too bad at all. Did you enjoy my professionally planned intro?
It was fantastic.
Yeah, fan-dabby-dozy.
What can I say? You know, the radio high life gets to some people, you know. Yeah. That's what it is, isn't it? Very good evening to everybody joining us live in the chat. Fathead, oh no, do we have to think about last season again? Just for one night only. That's a song, isn't it? For one night only. It's only just begun. Is that a song?
It is, yeah.
See, I'm here all week. The circus continues. How the hell we'd miss out on Keller for 12.5 million? Great business by Brentford. Absolutely. I put on Twitter earlier, if we end up with relegation Ramsdale when we could have had Kelleher for 13 million quid, I'm going to be livid, right? It just about sums
Is
up.
that gone through, is it?
Pretty much, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's good business.
Massively good business, yeah. For sure. Michael says, my end of the season review could have done better. Yeah, we are not very good indeed. We have to remember we aren't after every player we are rumoured to get. If we were, we would have the biggest squad on the planet, and our squad's pretty big at the moment. So we don't really need it getting any bigger, but probably maintained is what we need, and it's going to take a lot of outgoings, a lot of ingoings to ensure that happens. Yeah, I mean, all the rumours aren't going to be true. That's why I've stopped for the last 2 years doing as many transfer videos, because it's just not going to happen, right? If it gets to the latter stage, then fine, I'll talk about it. But I mean, every Tom, Dick and Harry linked by some fella down the pub, it just isn't worth my time, which is sometimes very valuable, sometimes not so much. But there we are. Do we not like it? Sorry, should I put my chest away? Sorry,
Nope.
I know. Sorry, blimey. Bonjour, everyone's speaking French. Okay, I can roll with that. That's fine. I didn't think Jake, the celebrity, would be joining us again. Well, you know, I had to have significant thoughts and contract negotiations internally about whether it was worth my time coming back here after, you know, making it in the big time. But I thought, on balance, I better come back for tonight. And, you know, if we enter next season, then that's a whole another ball game. But, you know, we'll see. Of course not. I'm always going to be here. Of course. Jay, wonder if we'll do any deals in this short window. Something would be nice. That would be for sure. Sharky, a member for 40 months. Thank you very much indeed. That is a long time. A long time. Yeah. 40 months. Wow. That is just about as much time as Gary's just spent on a cruise ship. So indeed. Right, let's get down to business, shall we? Let's start with what we were thinking before the season. So when we sat here in August, after my birthday, we were all having a nice summer. We were full of optimism and renewed hope. Can you cast your mind back, Gary? I'll start with you. What were you thinking as the season was about to begin?
To be honest with you, I wasn't inspired by the manager appointment. I think that was the first thing. I think all of us agreed with that. He wasn't very inspiring. But I thought the business we'd done looked on paper promising. I thought we'd done some good business. So I suppose I was cautiously optimistic.
Yeah, that's fair. I think that probably echoes the majority of the West Ham fan base. I mean, it wasn't just the West Ham fan base as well. I mean, if you cast your mind back, Mike, there was other fans, putting our transfer window at the top of the tree for the Premier League, saying, we've had a brilliant transfer window, we're going to be pushing for Europe and all the rest of it. And that soon disintegrated, didn't it? What were your thoughts? Yeah.
I think my thoughts, Jay, were, predicted between 10th and 14th at the beginning of the season, because I thought too many changes, too many new players. Wasn't 100% sure about the manager either. The players we brought in, I didn't see them being the sort of players we really needed. But yeah, I thought we'd be about mid-table. I couldn't see us getting back into Europe. I didn't think we would do that. I thought we needed time to bed it in, but in the end, they made the right decision to get rid of him, in my mind.
Yeah, I mean, so let's just analyse those few months then. I mean, the one thing that popped into my head, Gary, is that I just couldn't see a direction. And now that's not saying that I see a succinct direction now, but back then I can just remember sitting here with you guys just filled with disillusionment and asking the question, what are we doing and how are we trying to achieve it? What are we trying to achieve? And ultimately it ended in the demise of Julian Lopetegui, and I just couldn't get my head around, and I couldn't go past what he was actually trying to do because I couldn't grasp it.
No, I think one of the downsides of a season ticket is you get to watch every game. So when I used to go there, I used to think the seat's facing the wrong way because I had to watch there and I had no idea what was going on. It was just dire. It was really, really dire. And there was it was boring football. And as you said quite rightly, Jake, I had no idea what the plan was. With Moyes, you knew what the plan was, to hit them on the break mainly. But with Lopetegui, it was promised to do this, do that. And there was a couple of games, I couldn't even work out who was playing where. I just looked down. I had no clue what was going on. I was just sitting there and think, what am I doing? It was really strange. Really strange. Even though some of the wins we had were incredibly lucky. Manchester United, I've yet to find anyone yet that's thought that was a penalty apart from the VAR.
Yeah.
And that was one of our few wins at home this season. And we beat Leicester. That was a poor game. We beat Ipswich, who were very poor. And that's about it, really. Very
Yeah, and I mean, it got to a point where I was, stood there, and you've got Mavropanos at centre half, and you've got whoever this Guido Rodriguez bloke is in midfield, and I just couldn't fathom what was trying to be achieved, and it was never going to work, Mike, was it? From minute one,
going on, like Gary was saying, we couldn't see what they were trying to do. You had players like Soler and Rodriguez playing out on the left-hand side of midfield, with about as much pace as I've got now, and it's
and that's not a lot.
Joking aside, though, mate, we didn't have that ball winner in midfield. We didn't have anyone that could take the ball at the pitch. They were just looking around at each other, thinking, "What am I meant to be doing?" Because we were all thinking that, and I'm sure that all of the players on the pitch were as well. So there wasn't any direction. I just couldn't understand what he was trying to do. And like Gary just said, I think we were lucky in a few games. We won at Palace, and we thought, "Oh, this is all right." And and then a few games where we just didn't look like we had a clue what we were doing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and you mentioned that Palace game, and that was gone.
So we let in so many goals at home early on.
Yeah.
And the thing is, when you're at home, you should at least start positively because you've had all week to prepare. You're at home for your own own crowd, and I can't think. Mike might be able to help me out here, but I can't think of any home game where we started really well.
Well, one game we scored quite early. I remember. I can't remember which one it was. They all go into a bit of a blur with me.
And me.
But we scored. And we thought, here we go today, and then all of a sudden, they equalised straight away, and we're back on the back foot again.
Yes, I just don't get it. At home, you got at least have a go at home. That's one rule of football, really. I think if you're at home, you got to have a go. And we're always sometimes halfway through the first half, we're looking at us as much as we're sat back, we're passing it sideways. And I'm thinking, what is going on? I just didn't understand what was happening.
And that Palace game was one that sticks in my mind that Mike mentioned a little bit earlier, and I think that was the second game of the season, and I was desperate to see it work, because I mean I think we'd all accepted and understood that, you know, it was time to move on, and we were just all desperately trying to cling on to something to go, you know what, yes, this is going to work, brilliant. And that game, I mean, that those two counter-attacking goals were brilliant. You know, that one that Kilman played the ball through to Bowen, I think it was, and then Wan-Bissaka had the run for the other one. Two amazing goals and a brilliant away performance against the eventual, we weren't to know at the time, FA Cup winners in Crystal Palace. And you know, that's one of the very few games we can look back on and go, that was really good. But again, it was trying to find a needle in a haystack in terms of good performances under Julian Lopetegui. And I mean, for that period of time to be that bad, you've got to insert blame somewhere. So where are we looking? Are we looking at the recruitment? Are we looking at Tim Steiden? Are we looking at David Sullivan? Or are we looking at the manager himself, who we don't know how much hold and influence he had on the transfers? We'll probably never know whether those players, all of them were his players, whether they've been given to him by Steiden. So at the end of the day, it's difficult to try and put any blame anywhere without that.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's just disjointed management, really, Jake. I mean, there should be a certain way of playing. The manager just to say, I want to play this way, and I need this sort of player. That's how it should work. I think personally, the highlight of Lopetegui's reign for me was Newcastle away, where I thought we were absolutely excellent from start to finish. Yeah, you know, we were brilliant. That wasn't a lucky win. That we played really, really well up there, and they were a good side. So that to me was the highlight. Probably our best performance of the season, in my opinion. But that was the highlight, man. And I saw that game. I thought, you know, if we play like that every week, and the next game we change the midfield, and it's all, I don't know, it's beyond me.
And one thing that stuck out for me in that game, I mean, Newcastle have got a very good midfield, Mike, and let's talk about that in terms of our midfield has been questioned all season by all of us, and rightly so. But that night, and it was Paqueta in particular, I thought he was excellent, and he kept things simple, right? He didn't try his $1 million pass every single time. He kept it simple, one touch, two touch, pass the ball off, keep the ball moving. We had energy, we had direction, we actually knew what we're doing. So the frustrating part of it is, with performances like the Palace one, performances like the Newcastle one, all the way from home, because our home form was so dire, why couldn't we replicate that consistently week in, week out? And that was what caused his undoing eventually.
Yeah, I mean, Paqueta that night run that midfield and he bullied his mate. And that hadn't happened many times this year. I mean, Joe Linton, well, the games I've watched Newcastle, how he's not been sent off in about half of those games, unbelievable. You know, 2 yellows in a lot of games I've seen. He's been lucky. Yeah. But there's no doubt about it. Their midfield three, Tonali,
Guimaraes,
you know, and Joe Linton, very strong midfield. And that's why they've done so well. And okay, Isaac scoring all the goals, but that is one of the main reasons why, you know, they've done so well. And we absolutely, you know, we ripped their midfield to pieces at times in that game, but we just couldn't take it on into the next game, could we ever? We'd have one good win and we just couldn't roll it on into the next game. Going back to Paqueta, you know, with what he's had hanging over his head all season. You know, I give him a bit.
I agree with you. The FA should be ashamed of themselves. You can't charge someone 2 years ago and still not bring a case. It's absolutely ridiculous.
Isn't it? Yeah,
it is. It's like me saying to you, Jay, okay, you've got this hanging over your head, but I'm not going to talk to you about it until 2027.
It's ridiculous. And I think it was really symbolic. I mean, Mike, you would have noticed it at Ipswich last week as well. He came, and to be fair, he's not one that normally comes all the way over. He came all the way over first. He was one of the first. Him and Scarves, I think it was, were the first two that came over. And the song was sung, and it was a like, thank you. And then even worse than that, you know, the whole place stood in a line. He stood back. He was a good 10 yards back. And of course, I was filming it all for the vlog. And it wasn't until I actually watched it back afterwards that everyone was putting it on Twitter that he just stood back out of the way and sort of clapped. And I mean, it was quite symbolic. And I did feel for him in that moment because he looked quite touched when we sung the song, and he was there, and it, you know, you can just tell the impact. And when he had that moment when he got that yellow card at home about a month ago, you know, that, and you can tell it's affected him. And I mean, you'd be an absolute, you know, robot if it hasn't affected you. And you can just see that from him, Mike.
go. Well, Gary, you're right. Talk about mental health. You know, the FA should be absolutely ashamed of themselves for what they've done to that bloke this year. I know they you know, people will say, oh, he earns good money, he can go out there, you know, it's up to him, he's got to shake that off. But still, no way, you know, no way is that not going to affect you.
Exactly. And the point is, if it's found guilty, his career's over. Finished.
Yeah.
So that's a massive thing to hang over your head. Huge.
So how long does it take to establish whether he's guilty or not? I mean, we can all have our opinions, but ultimately it's useless and it's futile until we get the verdict. Why is it taking so long?
The bottom line is, Jake, he's had 0 assists this season, and that is no coincidence. 0.
Yeah. And I mean, it's the sort of frustration about it started to simmer more, and you see more and more people say if it turns out that he's not guilty, he can sue the FA to the absolute hill, right?
Well, Football Club should as well. I mean, and him personally, because I mean that he has been our best player, you know, for a little while. He's been one of our best players. Him and Bowen the year before were, you know, top 2 players yet again. And his performance has just dropped off, and it's expected to be told.
Absolutely, yeah. And you can't you can't criticize a bloke for that. And look, hopefully we'll get the verdict, and hopefully it's the right thing. And obviously they'll come to the right conclusion, I'm sure, and hopefully it's it's positive for him. But whatever it is, it's utterly ridiculous that it's dragged on for this long. Well, let's take some comments. First, my birthday is coming up. Hint. Well, yeah, I did mention my birthday, don't I? Well, a couple of months and a couple of days, and it'll be here. Yeah. 4th of August, I'll be here, ready for you all to celebrate me as you do every year. You know, absolute idol, me.
Can't do it, Gary, innit, eh?
Yeah, I'm busy.
Yeah,
and I mean, to be fair, more pertinently, people open their wallets, don't they? And it's great. It's great.
I don't.
I know you don't. I know you don't. But I get to open the card and put me out of the bottom of it. It's brilliant. You know what I'm like, don't you?
I'll open his wallet, but there you go.
You what? Honestly. No. I love birthdays, and I love other people's birthdays as well. Isn't it great giving admiration to people and expressing your joy for them? Don't you think? Gary, I mean, you really strike me as a man that doesn't enjoy birthdays.
I don't mind birthdays. I don't mind.
Really?
It's a fact of life, isn't it? Everyone has a birthday every year.
Yeah, there you go.
When you're as old as me, I can remember being your age, but you know, a long time ago for me. A long time ago.
Yeah, and it's a big 18 this year as well. So come to the Sun on Monday the 4th of August, Mike. And well, I mean, I'm not going to buy a pint that night. That's for sure.
Going to open, is it?
You what?
Obviously, your wallet is going to open.
Oh, I know. It'll be bursting at the seams after my 18th birthday, hopefully, Mike. Well, maybe not.
Believe it or not, I'm on holiday, Jake. Sorry.
Are you? Oh, of course. Oh, there's a surprise. Mike, 8 holidays a year. Honestly, Mike, 8 holidays a year is on holiday. What a surprise. Where are you off to that time?
We're going down by you, Gary. Not past you and a little bit further down. Shorefield Country Park.
Very nice.
There we are. Wow. There we are. That's a contrast to a Caribbean cruise. I was expecting you to come out with,
Yeah, we like to, mix up a little bit.
Mix it up. Absolutely. Let's have a look here. It says Aaron Wan-Bissaka, Bowen. In terms of Hammer of the Year, we're talking about it. We'll talk about that a little bit later on. Aaron Wan-Bissaka first, Bowen second, and the ref who gave the penalty against Man United for the assault on Ings. The real signings will be reported on after tomorrow, after the season ticket deadline kicks in. Now, this conversation is always had at the end of a tricky season, but unfortunately they have, and there are going to be some people that will just go, you know what, I can't do it anymore, and pack it in. But the vast majority, I mean, you kid yourself if you think it's going to be any, real significant difference, because people reluctantly pay their money, and I'm sure you two have reluctantly paid your money. Again, Gary's paid more than you, Mike, because he sits in the posho seats with his prawn sandwiches. But
I still had the offer to upgrade mine, and but I haven't took it up. I'm going to stay where I am.
Yeah, stay humble, Mike. I like it. Yeah, too right. Too right. Gary, is your name staying engraved on that little sticker on your seat for a bit longer?
It is, but do you know what, Jake? I really thought long and hard about it because,
Really,
I'll be honest, I don't want to be doom and gloom, but I can't remember the last time I went to a game and thought I really enjoyed that.
It's just been the home performance, though, Gary, isn't it? I mean,
Yeah,
they have been so bad. Like, let's face it, the away performances is what
really good.
kept us up this year, basically.
And the thing is,
good away days, and I've really enjoyed it. But at home, some games have just been abysmal.
But in the day, we're West Ham fans. We're used to losing. I don't mind losing at all.
We've seen, it's the way you lose.
Exactly, you got to have a go. Like the old days at the Harry, and I'll go back a long time, Jake, for your times. But you'd have a go, you know. If we lost, 3-1 or 2-1, I don't mind long having a go. But now I can't say it was. Was it Palace home or Brentford home? One of those games we lost. We didn't have a shot on target. A whole game without a shot. Can you imagine that?
Yeah.
Jesus. I just thought to myself, what am I doing?
Yeah, it's been painful, and that's the big thing. And I haven't been to many home games this season. It's a real struggle to get motivated to go to the home games, like, because it's just like, if I ask you to now, what's one thing you like when you turn up to the stadium? About when walking up to the ground, going in the ground before the game, half time, coming out afterwards. Can you name one thing that you enjoy about it?
Well, I go with my daughter, as you know, Jake, and we always say it's a good day out ruined by the football.
Yeah, 90 minutes in the middle usually messes it right up.
Yeah,
of course, and of course, seeing me is an added bonus, which elevates your experience of the day when that does happen on a rare occasion, as well. Right, before we carry on, a short interlude now, talking about money and my slight slight inability to open my wallet every now and then. You'll believe it or not, this time I actually have. Right, so today marks the start of, I'm not going to say the brains behind this, but maybe the brains behind West Ham Official. Would you agree, chaps, or not?
No.
What,
okay.
The brains are downstairs.
Driving force, I'd call it, Jake.
Basically everything apart from on screen of West Ham Official, my dad, of course, in the chat, started his 300-mile bike ride for DT38 today. Now, I donated £20 to the fantastic cause because I am a good Samaritan, I thought. And
so have I. I've done it as well.
And you've got a tip just given as well. You got a tip just given as well, right? So they had some of my money as well. But of course, all for a good cause in DT38. So here is the page. It has exceeded our initial expectations. We're up to £771, chasing up towards £900 and £1,000. If you would like to donate, haven't already, then I'm going to chuck the link into the chat now. He did start today and he did a remarkable 26 miles on the bike today. That's a marathon. He's cycled a marathon today. So that is... that's excellent. Whilst I've sat and had a Sunday roast and wandered around Weymouth, he has done that. So, and I've got a bit red as well, actually. Got a bit of sunburn, which is uncharacteristic, but there we are. So if you'd like to donate to Dad, he's very competitive, so he will do it. I'll assure you he will complete it because he's very competitive and he'll try and get as many miles past 300 as he possibly can, because that's just the way he is. And I've trained him to be as competitive as he is today. That's all down to me, of course. I am funny, aren't I? You just got to admit it. Don't shake your head at me.
Yeah, go on, Jake.
Don't shake your head at me. Right, moving on and getting back to the football. Now, one symbolic moment, Man City away, the final game of Julian Lopetegui's era. I was there that day, and I mean, ironically, we didn't actually play that bad. If you cast your minds back, we lost 4-1. But we actually had a few really good chances in the first half. Kudus had 2 or 3 golden opportunities before City really got going, and we could have put daylight between us and the then champions. We didn't, and it turned a bit sour in the second half, and you got sacked in the morning came out in terms of chance, and there was some real anger in it, and it ended in Lopetegui being relieved of his duties at the club. Did you think the timing of that was right? Would you have done it earlier, or would you have waited a bit longer, Michael? Do you think they got the timing of Lopetegui's departure right?
Yeah, about right, really. Let's be honest. You've got to give him we'd have to give him a bit of time, but we could all see it wasn't working. Everyone could see that, and they had to do it then. It maybe could have happened a little bit before then, but yeah, to be fair to the bloke, you had to give him a little bit of time to see if things were going to improve. But there's no way. There was no way they were going to improve, and they had to do it when they did it.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Sorry, I'm just reading these comments. Jake is doing the last 10 miles. Yeah, apparently I've been roped into doing this as well. I've got to do the last 10 miles. So, yeah, and of course...
But you're going to jog round as well.
We're going to jog around. No, it's on... No, come on. It's on a static bike, Mike. He's not going around Bruton on the hills, blimey. Imagine that. I'm going to do the last 10 miles. Don't know how long it's going to take me, but I will complete the final 10 miles in the spirit of the challenge as well. Gary, did you think the timing was correct of Lopetegui's departure?
Well, two things I'd say. I think, firstly, it was the wrong appointment at the start. We can all see that. But that being done, he should have been given the season because Potter's done no better. What I'd never understood about Sullivan was spend 20-30 million on a Brazilian teenager that we don't know anything about, but he won't spend any money at all on a manager. And that is the most important part of the club. Yeah. You know, he's appointed people because they're available. Like Potter will say whatever you want, he was available. That's the only reason he got the job. Rather than pay, I don't know what compensation is for Thomas Frank, say it's 20 million, 30 million, whatever. Think, I'll get him in. He's done a good job. We don't do that. It's just crazy. It's crazy. So that's my verdict on it. Lopetegui was terrible, but I'd have given him the season rather than, go on Potter for 2.5 years.
Yeah. One thing we've got to discuss is the classlessness, I think that's a word, of his exit and the way it was handled, which I think epitomises everything about West Ham. We knew before, and through the leaks, and it was actually quite disheartening and it was quite embarrassing, to be totally honest. I think it was 3 days. Was it something like 2 or 3 days? Yeah. We had pretty much effective confirmation of his, relieving of his duties before. And I think he did a press conference where we knew he was going to get sacked, and he was still there. And it was just pretty tragic, wasn't it?
It's the same every appointment, Jake. Even with David Moyes, everybody knew he was going for his official. Sam Allardyce the same. It's a complete lack of class at the top. It doesn't happen at any other club. This West Ham was just lack of class, and that's down to Sullivan, I'm afraid. It's really poor. And Brady.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it's absolutely from the top, Mike.
Oh, it's what you expect, to be honest. Like Gary said, it's happened before, so it's not a shock. But there's ways of doing things, and they haven't done them right. That is for sure.
Yeah, and regardless of your opinion on Julian Lopetegui, I couldn't help but feel a bit of sympathy for him, and towards those last few days and when he got released. And I think I remember he put out quite a spiky statement afterwards on Instagram as well. It was quite, I think he rebutted quite a lot actually, and was surprised and thought that they were getting somewhere with it, but clearly not. And he was relieved of his duties. There's wild accusations and suggestions being bandied around this chat here. The last 10 miles filmed live for the channel. Wow. And there was something about jelly deals as well, which I'm not too... Fatheads, just behave, will you? Surely if we get to a grand, you'll eat some jelly deals too, Jay. Why have I got to be dragged into this? So then the 20 quid that I've given is effectively I've paid to eat something I don't want to eat, which is not going to happen. Right? Jelly deals, really? Why have I got to be the one that eats it? Why can't Dad eat it? Why can't somebody else? Why has it always got to be me?
All the hard work, Jake. He's doing all the hard work.
Oh, well, yeah, but I'm usually one that puts in the miles, This time, not so much. But
have you ever tried them, Jake?
No, and I've
how
had
do you
no.
know,
I've eaten.
How do you know you don't like them?
right? I've eaten sardines live on this channel before, right? I get scapegoated into eating these horrible things every single time. I've eaten the green stuff on the pie, liquor, right? I've eaten sardines. I'm now being dragged into eating jelly deals. When's this going to end, right?
You got to try everything once.
That's jelly deals.
You try everything once, Jake. Apart from incest
Yeah,
and moral
not
stuff.
funny, is it? No, it's not funny. Well, I suppose I'll have to do it now, won't I? Fact is, you've gone down in my estimations. On now a race. Oh, okay. Let's make it a race for the last 10 miles. So whoever completes the last 10 miles quickest has to eat.
If you can't be your dad, Jake, that'd be a shame on you.
Yeah, but 10 miles is quite a lot. Yeah, but he does. I don't go on the bike, you see. He goes on it every day, and like he's been training vigorously. That's the word, vigorously.
When I was your age, if I could be a 50-year-old on the bike, God knows what I'd have done. I'd have hung myself in shame. Wouldn't you, Mike?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, but I excel in other areas like presenting.
Yeah, but if you're 18, you're raising a 50-year-old, I'd give him a 5-mile start.
All right, Gary. All right. All right. Loser has to eat eels. Honestly, what am I reading here? Anyway, right. Let's all for a great cause, of course. To be fair, I did enjoy the pie and mash with the liquor.
There you go.
Nice.
You might love the jelly deals.
Well, I'm not sure about that. Can we even get them? How are we going to source jelly deals in Somerset? I'm not being funny. Can you buy them online?
No, we can get them. I'll bring some back when I'm up there next.
Brilliant. Some cold, mouldy, old jelly deals. Brilliant. Lovely, Mike. Fantastic. Anyway, so Lopeeti gone, incoming manager. It always felt like it was going to be him. Graeme Potter joined the club. First game was in the FA Cup against Aston Villa, a valiant performance where he chucked Ollie Scholes in from the start. It was bold, it was decisive, it was original, and it was refreshing to see that as a West Ham fan. What do we make of the appointment first of all, Mike, and then those first few games, which introduced some elements of optimism?
Yeah, at least I could understand what he was saying in the flipping press conferences.
Yeah, that's true.
I know, joking aside, mate. I thought it was a bit of a middle of the road appointment. I wasn't overexcited, but I wasn't that upset either. I thought it was a bit of a knee jerk as well because they were worried he might have gone to Everton or someone else was going to snap him up. So that's why they got him. But yeah, to start with, I thought I could see little shoots. You know, I could see that. I mean, let's face it, we were shipping goals galore, and he had some work to do with that defence because we were poor. We gave away so many poor goals, and it looked like there was something happening there, especially in that first game at Villa. I thought, hello, you know, maybe we're going to pick up and we're going to start climbing the league again. But yeah, that was just the first game.
Yeah, and that sort of optimism disappeared quite quickly, Gary.
Yeah, I mean, there's a couple of times second half of the season, you could have watched Lopetegi's team at home. You had no idea the difference, personally, I felt. And we threw away some stupid points like Brighton away. We 2-1 up in injury time and lost somehow. Saints at home, we were 1-0 up against the worst team officially in the Premier League. And
that was probably the worst.
It was second half. We were defending for our lives against Southampton at home. I sat there with my mates thinking, what are we doing? We're talking. It's Southampton. You knew they were going to score. Question of when.
Yeah. Yeah, and it was painful, and that's one of the worst games I think I've ever seen, to be totally honest. And it was so obvious it was going to happen. You know, I was halfway back to Stratford when the goal went in, and I wasn't surprised at all when I heard the distant cheer and knew it was from the away end that Southampton had equalised. It was just bemusing. The substitutions, I mean, we used to sit here and slag off Moyes' substitutions, but the substitutions have been more than bemusing, more than bizarre in his short time at the club so far.
The other thing, I don't want to be too negative, but I understand that I am. Why haven't you used youth more in the second half of the season? I don't understand that.
Yeah. Exactly. It's been a glorified pre-season. There's been nothing on it pretty much from February, really. We knew we weren't going to go down. Give people some game time. Give him a go. Why not? Honestly, what do they have to lose? And it seemed like straight away with the Skulls introduction in his first game, we thought, right, he's going to try and embed some of them in here. But it wasn't to be.
Even Skulls, I felt sorry for Skulls. I mean, he got ripped a new one at Liverpool by Salah.
He did.
He's not the first person to do that. He won't be the last.
Exactly.
You know, you don't leave him out for the rest of the season until the last game. No. After that.
Yeah, no, really bizarre. Really bizarre. Right, there's some furthering on this whole eel debate and conversation. Loser has to fish the jellied eels out of the Thames. What? So do they swim in the Thames? I don't know this stuff. Do they swim in the Thames, these eels?
Not while they're jellied, Jake, but beforehand they do.
Do they? Well, what does like jellied mean? Like, what are they put in? Like actual jelly? I don't know.
Yeah.
The clue's in the name, Jake. It's like a chocolate raisin. It's a raisin in chocolate.
What? Like the eels are put in like wobble wobble Hartley's jelly?
Not Hartley's jelly. It's not you know jelly and pork pies.
What? Jelly and pork pies? What?
Yeah. You know the jelly and pork pies?
No.
What are we dealing with there, Mike? What are we dealing with there?
Jelly and pork pies? You've lost me here.
Oh dear.
What
pork
sort of jelly?
Jelly in it.
He's never pie, has he?
Well, I've eaten a pork pie, but I didn't go, yeah, there's the jelly, wobble wobble.
Yeah, but
it's like Roundtree's strawberry jelly.
Well,
that's what you're thinking.
Well, that's what I associate with jelly.
Or Roundtree's jelly.
Yeah.
Well, you imagine it to be strawberry jelly with eels in it, and you'd be completely wrong because it's not.
Yeah. It's
well, apparently Morrison's do eels, but I've just been on my Morrison's app and put eels into a product finder and I can't find it. So maybe I'll have to go to Wincanton Morrison's. Mike, just down the road, go and search and see if you can find eels in Morrison's.
Wait, see if Greg's doing, Jake.
Oh, Greg's do not do jellied eels or any eels whatsoever. I can guarantee you of that. I do love a bit of Morrison's, especially after about 5 o'clock. Down the second freezer aisle on the right.
Yellow.
See, Mike knows. Yellow sticker. Mike knows. It's brilliant, right? Some of the bargains I've got, Dad, like prawns and stuff and like meals and stuff for about 30p. It's brilliant. Dad won't knock it.
No,
brilliant.
Why not? Why not?
No.
Yeah. And I know exactly where it is. So first aisle is just fruit and veg. First freezer aisle, don't go down there. Second freezer aisle, on the right, last chance to buy, red like thing at the top, and there's just 3 layers of just yellow sticker glory.
Other supermarkets are available.
Of course, other supermarkets are available. More professional than me, Gary. That just about sums it. Pie, mash and liquor, though, is lovely. I did enjoy it. Sharkies in my boat. Never tried the eels. They look vile. Thank you very much indeed for that one. Right, let's scroll down. You two are on the same wavelength here. You put this on at exactly the same time. Next season will be better. Next season will be better. On the same wavelength. Fathead says Scholes is the only one who was still at the club who is Premier League quality. He did get hung out to dry, put out there against Liverpool, and to not see him again for a few weeks was a bit classless, to be honest. But he's got quality there, and that's, that goes without question, hasn't it?
In fact, he may be right, but I've never seen Casey, so I don't know how good he is or not.
We came on right at the end at Bournemouth, didn't he?
Yeah, for about 2 minutes.
Yeah.
In my eyes, he can't be worse than Mavropanos.
Oh no, you're
Absolutely
right. You're right, Gary. He should have slipped them lads in. Even if it was 20 minutes here and there.
Yeah, exactly.
Before the end of the season, the likes of Orford, Scholes shouldn't have been like hung out to dry like he was. I was at Liverpool and I felt sorry for him that day.
Yeah.
And there's been better fullbacks than him. Been roasted by Mo Salah. So
absolutely, yeah.
He was unlucky.
Part of the early curve, Mike. You remember Declan Rice had a few. I think he got hauled at half time. First game at Liverpool, he got hauled at half time, didn't he?
He did. He got ripped off at half time against Liverpool. It's an experience, you know what I mean? And they got to learn from those experiences.
Exactly.
If you think he's got the quality and you think he's going to do it, you've got to treat him in the right way. And I don't think he's totally honest.
Absolutely. No, I agree. Just reaffirming my point, Jake is the king of the yellow sticker. Absolutely.
Yellow sticker.
Yeah, if that is my new title. Right, so jelly deals in a pot in Morrison's. Right, so I'm going to have to look out for them. So you know what, Mike, when you walk into Morrison's, I reckon in the right-hand corner on the first floor where all the fish is, do you reckon they're over there?
They could probably be down there, Jake. Yeah,
I reckon, yeah.
that's by the toilet, isn't it? No.
Just as well be.
Eels in fish oil, shocker.
Well, no,
they're not by the Smarties, Jake, for sure.
No, but I'm just trying to envisage where they are because Morrison's is a big shop. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, I know, but what supermarkets tend to do, Jake? They group things together.
Well, they might be with Hartley's jelly. Now, you keep talking about jelly.
Yeah.
They might be with the jelly.
Fish,
You think it'd be
eels.
jam then, do you?
Well, who knows?
You guys
Yeah,
baked beans, spaghetti, eels. Oh, here we go.
Yeah, but it's awful though because whenever I walk around that corner, I've got to hold my breath because the fish stinks so much. What? It's awful. It's a horrible smell.
Another shocking thing: fish smells. Fancy
Yeah.
that.
It's horrible.
Newsflash.
Yeah, no, it's not an education. It's Mike, isn't it? We never knew this.
I give up. Right, let's talk about a few positives. First of all, Arsenal away. I was there that day and I couldn't believe what I was seeing, to be totally honest. Whether it said more about us than it did about the hosts, then we're going to sweep that to the side and talk about how in that game, as we were at Newcastle, we were defensively robust and we were clinical when we needed to be and we worked together as a team. And it comes back to the old adage that we talked about a little bit earlier on. Why couldn't we provide that consistency throughout the whole of the season? That day, I couldn't fault us, Gary.
No, they were brilliant. In terms of positive players, mate, I would say Wan-Bissaka's been a fantastic signing. I think I have high hopes for him. He's been better than I thought he'd be. I think he's been really good. Bowen is, again, very consistent, very, very consistent. He's been good. Scar's come through. That's been a positive.
Yeah.
After that, I'll be honest with you, I'm struggling for players, but performance-wise, yeah, Arsenal was good, Newcastle was good. Again,
Struggling.
Again,
Man United away was good. I mean, Mike, have you got
Yeah.
any other standouts?
not
No.
really. I thought the Arsenal result was my favourite, and believe it or not, I was on a cruise ship and I didn't know what that.
Oh, believe it or not. Yeah, so honestly, if my memory serves me right, Mike was on a cruise ship. Nigel was in Paris and he told me
Yeah.
the week before, nah, I don't know why you're bothering going to Arsenal, we're going to get battered. And Gary, didn't you have 2 tickets and give them away?
I gave my daughter and her boyfriend, yeah.
I mean, you three, the trio of you, I mean, what on earth?
Stay away a bit more than.
Yeah,
Yeah.
maybe you three are the problem. Stay away.
Yeah, exactly.
Stay away. Honestly, yeah. For me, that was the highlight, and I don't think that's much. I mean, I wasn't. I don't think any of us were at Newcastle away. I think Nigel might have been there, but
Nigel,
Newcastle away was really good to see on the TV. Yeah. But apart from that, I mean, you can't name a home game, can you? I mean, the Man United game was lucky, but if you put that to the side, can anyone name a home game that was any good?
No.
No, I really can't, Jake. I really can't.
Ipswich, we started slowly, didn't we?
We
beat 4-1.
I thought they were poor, and I thought they'd go down from that, that day onwards. I mean, we beat Wolves, and I thought they were quite poor that day as well.
We lost 9 games at home, Jake. 9 games at home.
Yeah, there's not many good games.
That's Tottenham-esque.
Yeah,
no, it is, isn't it? Now, Sharky raises a good point. Go on.
The European Super Cup will be Tottenham versus PSG.
Yeah, they're going to hold about 15. Honestly, get on that. Now, Sharky raises a valid point. Fulham away was very good. I was right at the front. I was second row. Danny Ings for his one contribution for the season, worth all that money undoubtedly. Scoring to save a point that day. That was brilliant. Yeah, it was.
We won at home, didn't we? 3-2, I think.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
That was lucky, but that was defensive mistakes again that we.
It was, yeah.
Yeah, that we latched on to. I mean, Bournemouth away wasn't too bad.
No, that was okay.
Shame about the free kick at the end.
Free kick at the end, wasn't it?
We did play quite well, and I thought Bournemouth were flying at a time as well, and they were playing really well.
We played on the whole. I agree with you, Mike.
Yeah.
Away went too bad. Even Chelsea away went too bad. Villa away went too bad.
Yeah,
Yeah.
good performances, but just didn't translate to results. That's a good point. I was at Villa and Chelsea, and I walked away satisfied. With the performances, and it just didn't translate into the results that maybe we probably deserved. But that may be lending and leaning into our sort of clinical aspect in the final third and how we've been pretty inept attackingly this season. We just haven't quite had that striker, believe it or not, to get on the end of them and score goals. I mean, when you think about it, what is it? Bowen and Souček have scored 21 goals between them this season. I think they've scored half our goals. Two players scored half our goals. I mean, that is one massive telltale sign of where we've gone wrong this season, because we've relied too heavily on just two players. One of them sometimes could be a deep line midfielder, sometimes progressive, absolutely. But you've got us relying on Thomas Souček, who some people are saying we should let go this summer, who scored us 9 or 10 goals this season and probably kept us up.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. We haven't had too many bad away performances, really. We've lost a few.
Not really.
We haven't played too badly away from home.
No.
We've been shocking at home. Our home form's cost us big time. We've got to do something about that next season. That's the number one priority, I think.
For sure. Yeah. I mean, yeah, we've been valiant away from home. I can't vividly remember walking out of actually Wolves away. That was dreadful. That's the one game I walked out of and went, that was shambolic. But apart from that, the away games I've been to this season, I can't remember walking out going, livid, seething. Man City 4-1 was disappointing, and it ended Lopeeti then. So maybe those two are the ones that stick out. Forest away. Christ, I'm racking up quite a few here. We lost 3-0 and were rubbish that day. But yeah, on the whole, we've been better away, and we've had better performances away than at home.
If you said at the start of the season, we're going to win at Arsenal, Newcastle, Manchester United, you'd have been in the hand up, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Exactly. So it's been a funny old season. That's for sure. So overall, a rating out of 10 for the season.
That's a difficult one,
isn't it?
4 for me, I'd say.
I agree. I was going to say 4. Yeah.
I'd give it 5.
Oh, how generous, Mike. 5.
Well, the thing is, Jake, I'm a bit of a realist. I've been following this team for a long, long time. And if you have a look at our average position in the league, in the Premier League, since we went back up again, it'd be somewhere around where we finished this year, to be totally honest. And I did predict that. And so I'm not shocked. In fact, I didn't think we were going to get up those 2 places until the last game of the season.
I mean, to be fair, it's flattered us, really, isn't it?
It papered over a lot of cracks, and the away performances were better. This is a plus side that we didn't take any batterings second half of the season. We look much more solid defensively, but we need to be a lot more attacking at home to get the thing back on side.
I think certainly Mike and I remember the days when we were an attacking team. So I've never once said to myself we're going to win the league. Never, ever, ever. Even Europe's been beyond us. I don't think about that. All I want for my team is to play well and attack and be proud of the team. I don't expect us to beat Manchester City away. I just never. It's a bonus game for us, and that's what I want back. I want the spirit. But until we get better owners, we'll never ever challenge the top clubs. Replace that as fact. Already saying we've got to sell before we buy. Yeah,
and I mean, if we look ahead to what's to come, I think it's quite scary, to be totally honest, with the players leaving the club already confirmed, and with ones that we obviously know are going to be departing the club over the next couple of months, with not a lot of money to spend.
I think we should give a shout out Mo Kudos for the most disappointing player of the season, I think.
Yeah.
Absolutely. He's the Phil Foden biggest drop of performance of the year winner for West Ham.
It's been a flop, and whether his head's been elsewhere or whatever it's been, he's been,
What happened at the game on Saturday? They said he didn't celebrate at all, did he?
No, he just stood there and then just walked back. Like there wasn't any emotion behind him scoring. It was a pretty good goal.
It's a great goal.
Yeah.
Feature would go. I think, if his head's not on it, he's got to go. And that's where we should make some money to try and bring in a couple of decent players. Yeah.
He just stood there, did he?
Yeah, basically.
Well, he was just like,
oh, right. Okay, let's get going, basically, is the mentality. Yeah.
Yeah. I think But then again, that could be a lot of it that he knows himself that he's had a bad season.
Yeah.
You know, and he's disappointed with himself. And I have heard reports like that from him, that he knows he was well under par this year.
And he has been. There's no doubt in that.
Yeah,
for sure. Right, we're not going to go into what we think is going to happen in the transfer market, because that's just who knows? It's a minefield. So what I'm going to ask now to finish things off, before we talk about players leaving the club, to finish, is what would you be happy with next season? What's your prediction, and what are you going to target in terms of league position? I know it's a very difficult question to ask with no idea or scope of what our squad's going to look like in a couple of months' time. But where do you think we should be looking at, and where do you think we should be come this time next season in 12 months?
Well, I don't think we're good enough to get back in Europe, and we'd have to have a lot of improvement to do that. Again, between 10th and 12th, I'd take that now. If someone was offering
Absolutely.
it, I'd snap someone's hand off for it. I still think the teams that are coming up probably struggle. And there's one or two teams this year that really underperformed, as in Tottenham and Man United, that will be higher up the table. But you'll also find there's some of those that have been up there this year will also drop off. Yeah. So it'll probably even out again. So, yeah, mid-table.
Gary, do you agree?
Yeah, I think mid-table will be fine. What I really hope, Jake, is I want a bit of legs in midfield, a bit of pace, a bit of attacking ability. All I want to do is be entertained. That's all I want. I don't really care. Yeah. As Mike said quite rightly earlier, we've never been a top Premier League team. We never will be with all the money in some of the other clubs. But we should always give them a good game, have a good go. That's all I want, really. I want attacking football. I want to come away being entertained. It's my hobby, end of the day. I pay hard-earned money to sit and watch. I travel up, 2 hours to watch the game, and I want to be entertained. That's all I want. That's what I hope for next season.
Absolutely, and you've got every right for that. I mean, I don't mean to be pessimistic before a ball's been kicked next season, but I mean, if we just deal with the facts of what we've got here in terms of a squad that's disjointed, this Premier League season has been unique, bizarre, and disjointed. And as Mike alluded to, you expect United and Spurs to be better. Yeah, maybe some might drop off, and I actually, as a rogue shot, expect Forest to be, disintegrating next season. I think that could unravel pretty quickly at the City Ground. But will all of the Fulham, Palace, Brighton, Brentford, Bournemouth, all of them be at the same level next season? I don't think all of them will be. Some of them are going to drop off. But you can't look past how poor. And I know it's a big if the teams that come up next season aren't as bad as they have been this season, then we will be looking over our shoulders, and if there would have been a slight increase in quality, if it would have been the three that came up 2 years ago this season, we'd have been down, right? We'd have been relegated.
Yeah, I think the teams coming up, Leeds and Sunderland have got very big, very fanatical home support. They're going to be a tough place to go and win those two.
Oh yeah,
Burnley not so much, but Leeds and Sunderland is going to be a tough ground to go to. Very tough ground.
Yeah, and if they can establish those grounds as fortresses, which the teams like Luton and who was it this year? It's gone through my Ipswich. Sorry, Luton, Ipswich failed to do. If they can get those grounds as fortresses, and they can pick a few points up away from home, then they can generate momentum, and that's where we've got to be careful. And of course, it's dependent on what we do in the transfer market, and of course, we can't really predict and try and estimate where we're going to be next season. But I do have a level of concern, and I hope that I'm proven wrong in that sense. Just to finish off, players leaving the club, important players leaving the club, not to undermine others. Firstly, Aaron Creswell, 11 years at the club, one of the final members of the last year at the Bowling. That was really nice at Ipswich away last week, Mike. There was a tear in my eye, actually. I will openly admit it was quite special to wish him goodbye. He didn't want to be at the front, but they managed to push him to the front at like the third time of asking, and he received his plaudits absolutely. And it was nice how the whole crowd, Ipswich fans, brilliant as well, to give him an ovation as he returns to his former club. And overall, that whole afternoon, he should have brought him on earlier, and the West Ham fans actually expressed their frustration that Creswell wasn't brought on earlier. But it was a really touching and suiting send-off for a brilliant servant for the club.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. So I had a fly go in my eye at the same time, Jake, I think, as you did probably. But joking aside, 11 good years. Yes, he scored some peach goals with his left foot, a wand of a left foot. Been a really consistent player. Struggled a bit towards the end as an out-and-out left back, but never put a foot wrong when he played on the left side of the back three. We could still do a job there, no doubt about it, but you got to move on. And
he scored one of my favourite goals with his right foot at Chelsea away when David Martin got the goal.
that was
brilliant goal.
Great goal. And I think technically he's probably one of the best footballers I've seen at West Ham. Very rarely did he miscontrol the ball. And as you say, Mike, his left foot, his passing ability. The thing that's gone is his legs. He can't run. Simple as that.
Yeah. And actually, I think we could have got another year out of him. I mean, he's putting some. I mean, let's not beat around the bush here. He hasn't been dreadful this season. He's played in that back three in the left of that centre half position. He's held his own, and in some games, I've been really impressed and politely and pleasantly surprised about how well he's done. I think we could have got another year out of him.
Well, the last home game, he's the only one going forward. Technically, like I said, he's very, very good footballer. He's got no legs. Simple as that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Fabianski leaving the club here for a good 7 years. He was geeing the crowd up towards the end at Ipswich, and he also did evoke some frustration that he wasn't involved. Actually, in a post-match interview, he thought he deserved to be involved in the last home game. That's what he wanted, but that wasn't to be, and he got the last away game. And I mean, if we're just going to zone in on that game, Mike, what a brilliant save it was. He touched it over, didn't he? And that epitomises his West Ham career. Not too many howlers.
No. I think he's a better keeper than Ariola myself still.
Really?
Yeah, I agree.
No, I can't disagree. And I mean, the one game that sticks out is that Newcastle game at home a couple of years ago. He had an absolute nightmare that night. Was it 5-4 or 5-1? But apart from that, I can't think. No other howlers foreground into my mind.
Do you know, Jake? A fact about Fabianski, he saved more penalties in the Premier League than any other keeper.
Really? Yeah, he does save them. I mean, the easiest one he'll ever save was at home to Fulham. Lookman, wasn't it? Yeah. But a player that got it, a player that really good, and a player that we missed. Talking of players that got it, nobody is more of a representation of that than Vladimir Coufal. Again, another player that I was sad to see go. A player that understood the West Ham way, got on a bus in East London and really embraced the culture and reality of being a West Ham player, and alongside Souček. And you could tell these players respected the badge, respected the club, and felt honoured every time they walked out. £5 million, 5 years of service, really steady, robust defender, could put a decent ball in the box, and Gary, a brilliant player.
Yeah, he was. I said, especially his first 2 or 3 years, brilliantly. I think we all agree Wan-Bissaka's not great, so I can see why he wants to go. But superb servant. And my favourite story of him was obviously in Leverkusen when the fans threatened to overrun him. He stood his ground. He basically said they'd be in trouble if they're going on near me.
Exactly, and that sums him up, Mike, doesn't it?
Oh yeah, him stood on the pitch there at the end. Sherman's around. He didn't give a
Fair
damn.
play to him.
Oh mate, but. No, joking aside, he's put a lot of assists.
Yeah.
Balls in the box, and always give everything he had. He rolled his sleeves up and give everything he had for West Ham. And he understands West Ham. But again, he's another one that's, Wan-Bissaka, he's not going to knock him off his perch. No way. So, yeah.
And that one goal always eluded him, avoided him, and I'd have loved to see him score that. I mean, it was the shoe chant every time he got the ball at Ipswich, and he enjoyed his send-off as well, and rightly so. Right, to get this done in under an hour, I'm going to do my little waffle, but at the end, I want you both to describe this season in one word for me. I'm going to give you a little bit of time to think about that, whilst I say a huge thank you to everybody that has got involved throughout the entirety of this season, to people that have just watched one video or all of them, liked, been regulars in the chat, watched without even commenting, or just watch one video. I'd like to express my huge thanks to everybody from the people in the chat, to people behind the camera, to Dad for sorting most things out, everything out that goes on here, and to, of course, my regular guests in you two lovely people, Larry and Nigel and Josh and Sean on the Premier League Roundup show. A huge thank you to everybody who makes this show, because I say every season it'll be pretty boring if it was just me sat here talking, and you know, I hold myself in quite high esteem, so for me to say that, you know, it's got to mean something, hasn't it? So thank you to you two, and I'm going to let you leave with your final word summarizing this season. Not I said Nigel then, Jesus Christ.
One word.
One word.
Underwhelming.
Gary?
Disjointed.
Disjointed. I think that's fair. What am I going to go with? Now I've put myself under pressure. Tedious is the word I'm going to use to describe it. And that is us done for another season. I've done this for, 4 or 5 seasons now. And yeah, we love it. So from me, from Mike, from Gary, to Nigel, to Larry, to Sean, to Josh, to everybody, to Phil, to everybody that gets involved in the videos, a huge thank you. Everybody getting involved in the chat as well, you know, the regulars, we appreciate you, the members, everybody. No, thank you very much for all the content. Best season yet from your side. Thank you very much indeed. Yeah, bipolar season, absolutely. Thank you very much, Jay. Absolutely. And from us, for one final time this season, it's time for me to go and sit back and relax. Come on, you irons, and we'll see you soon right here on West Down Official. Thanks very much. Season 2024-25 over and out. We'll see you soon. Bye-bye. Cheers, guys. Thank you very much.